Now from Hollywood, California, the horror capital of the world, the Boulet Brothers, creatures of the night.
Greetings and welcome, uglies, to a brand new episode of the Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night. Alas, I am sad. One tear is being shed. Halloween is over, but fear not, because we are still in Dragula season and we're only halfway through. So the rest of the season is going to get us all through the holidays.
It's going by so fast, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I think just because we've been so busy outside of like the production of the show and the post and the delivery and all that, it seems to be going by like double fast.
I think so too. Which sometimes I want it to go by fast. Sometimes when it's just too much drama, I'm like, just get it over with.
Yeah.
I'm going to hide in a cave until it's done.
Like too much bad drama.
Too much bad drama. Yeah, this year I'm loving it. I'm like, I want there to be 20 episodes. There could have been 20 episodes.
Yeah. And I think people have pointed out the snarky shit that's out there that like, God, the Boulets really love it when they're messy and, you know, it's so crazy and all the drama. And I'm like, you're right. Ding, ding, ding. You got it. Like it's called reality television. It's super entertaining on so many different levels. And I do love this season. I've been so excited for people to see it. And I think the response is there. Like people love Titans 2.
Yeah. For me, it's not about like, I love the drama. It's about, I love reality. Like I love when people are being real and they're engaging and they're pushed to their limits. I like the interpersonal engagement between them. I just think it's fascinating. That's why I'm not a fan of overly produced reality shows. And I love when it gets raw. You know, those are my favorite kind of shows.
No, absolutely. And part of it is like the conflict resolution or the attempts, but then the inability to have the conflict resolution. I think that's like a lesson in life as you get older. Like if you're conscionable in any way and you try to be the best version of yourself, you do have to get to the place where you're like, how can I express my feelings, say what I mean, but don't say it mean, and sort of like work it out with everybody else.
Sure. And there's so many interesting people in the world. I get into that with like documentaries, you know, those weird Netflix documentaries where they're like this person and things happen that you're just like, who would ever think, like, why would someone do this stuff? And it just blows my mind and it entertains the hell out of me. So I find real life to be more entertaining than fiction, honestly.
Well, we are halfway through the season, so I wanted to ask so far, and we can include this episode since
Sure.
we're 5 episodes through and 5 episodes still to come. What has been your favorite episode? Is it the Halloween house party, Neotropolis, the Monsters of Rock, the Gothic wedding, the return to the Nosferatu beach party, or this episode, the Holiday of Horrors?
I'm going to say it was either 1 or 4. 1, because it set up a new format and it reintroduced Vander to the audience and this huge cast. And, you know, that was and the drama, like the Sigourney and Eva thing at the beginning was really interesting. So I think probably 1, but 4 is close behind because a lot of stuff happened in 4.
Interesting. I also have 2, but it's episode 2 and 4. I think Neotropolis was just a great example of what makes Dragula a special format, and being out there in like these unconventional environments and seeing the challenge of rising to the challenge, being in drag, delivering a performance out there when the desert wind is just like whipping around and it's freezing. I think it's like the best of Dragula. But I do think episode 4 probably is my favorite, just because, I mean, it fired off on all pistons. It was crazy.
Yeah. I don't know why Neotropolis, to me, Neotropolis was a love letter to a certain part of the fan base who likes that raw part of Dragula. Like I really wanted to give all the fans what they wanted from Dragula with this season of Titans, and everyone's always like, we want, you know, the wildness back out when you were on the scene and all that stuff, and we did it. But as a producer, the quality drives me crazy. Like I don't like, you know, the sound is weird. Just from a production point of view, it's not my favorite because we can't make the show to the level of quality that it is now. Yeah, so that's the part that bothers me.
It's harder to control.
I
unclamp my producer brain because I get so much out of just it being wild.
Yeah.
Like a wild ride. And that I'm like, oh, that goes so far with me. I don't care about it. I kind of don't care about anything else.
It's almost like I'd like to do that format in like a spin-off. Like if Resurrection became a series and it was on location, I would be more comfortable with that being messier because it's a different show. But Titans has really set a standard at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, neither of us picked Holiday of Horrors, and we're going to get to that episode right now. But there's a special coming up this December by the same name, the Boulet Brothers Holiday of Horrors Christmas special. That is we're working on tirelessly in the background. You know, amongst all the other stuff that we were doing, this is like really coming into focus. I feel
like you're kind of tormenting me by bringing this up right now. Like I cannot believe that you're bringing this up. Like I was like, oh, we'll do the podcast. It'll be a little break from all that. And you're like, don't forget, bitch, you need to make a shot list tonight.
Well, it's true, bitch. Don't forget. Okay, but
don't come at me with those B's.
Oh, I know. Or I'll come at you with a C. Oh my God, we were unhinged during this deliberation on this Holiday of Horrors. Anyway, okay, so I'll spare Drac the Torture. I do that most other days. But there is a special coming. So once Dragula is over, you won't have to wait very long to see another vision from the Boulet Brothers. If you were a fan of our Halfway to Halloween special, then I think you'll be a fan of this too. It's going to be a little different, but hopefully it'll kind of serve that need for something horror and spooky and Christmassy. I think Christmas is so dark, and it can be joyous and amazing and magical, but it can also be kind of isolating and depressing and dreary.
Yeah, and I think the whole idea of using the word Christmas in the special to me is important, not from a religious point of view, but I'm trying to almost draw light on that this is a distinctly American and bizarre environment, right? Like there's Christmas all over the world. It's not just here, but the way it's handled in the United States it's just weird. Like there's a weird family thing, and there's a whole vibe to it that I always felt like if you just turned the diamond a little bit and looked at it from a different angle, it's scary and it's weird.
I agree. Something to look forward to. That's coming in December.
It's going to be delicious.
It is. Before we get into this entrance lab and find out how the ghouls feel about who did and didn't come back, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We have returned, my darlings, and now it's time to let everyone into the entrance lab to talk it out.
Yes, it is the Boulet Brothers Dragula, Titans Season 2, Episode 5, The Holiday of Horrors.
Postmortem, here we go. Okay, so it didn't take very long for everyone to get to the table, chatting it up. Abora comes back in, Jaharia comes back in. I felt really good to see the cast kind of being like celebratory and joyous and happy to see their friends come back in the room, but that's it. Like we have a double out. It was not only time to say goodbye to Zava, it was also time to say goodbye to Dahlia.
Yes, and I want to actually be clear with the fans. They both got eliminated because of the competition. You know what I mean? Like the Zava being disqualified later, that did not happen before they were eliminated. In fact, I think that they were eliminated might have inspired some of the chaos that ensued after that. Mm-hmm. I will say with Dahlia, did her behavior behind the scenes and with production and everyone, did that contribute to her being eliminated? It absolutely did. And we always say everything counts, and it does. Mm-hmm. So if you mistreat the production crew, you know, your points are going to come down for us very quickly.
That's right. And, you know, it was about time to like give a chop, right? Mm-hmm. Because we started with the most ambitious, biggest cast we've ever had in the 7 or 8 years we've been doing the show, if you count like all the spinoffs and stuff. And we wanted to give as much opportunity and shine as possible to the biggest group of our previous competitors that we could. But now is the culling. Like, we're not only going to see a double on episode 4 for the Nosferatu Beach Party, and we'll get there. What happens at the end of this episode too?
Well, and you have a very good awareness about that because you see the other challenges challenges coming down the line. And you were warning me because I'm pretty sure, unless I'm misremembering, that we were supposed to send 2 people home on episode 1. And once again, the whole crew rebelled and was like, please keep them.
Okay,
and you relented, but you were like, then there's going to have to be...
You're going to have to pay
2
that
doubles.
price.
There's going to have to be 2 doubles.
And I saw that come a double. I saw that coming like a million miles away. And this is kind of funny because you're making me think like there's been a million opportunities for you to say, yeah, Swan is like the rules Martha and she's safety and Drac always pushes the envelope. But listen up and let it be known. Drac is a softie sometimes and doesn't want to give extra chances to everybody. And we have a tough plan where we have to make difficult decisions. And you're like, maybe we'll just delay. And I'm like, oh God, I know better than to fight that. But at some point you have to pay the toll. And this was that episode.
It's true. I always feel like there's more players on the board. Like the more players that are on the board, the more interesting it is. And so also I feel like, we crushed their dreams one at a time. I feel less like that now because now I'm like, if you guys haven't, as the cast I'm speaking to, if you haven't learned yet, if you're fun and you're interesting, we'll bring you back 10,000 times. So like, just get over it. Don't take it personally.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I no longer say to myself, God, I wish they brought, as much drag as they did the personality and then feel bad or somehow responsible. There's no responsibility here. The responsibility is like solely on them.
You're right about that. Yes.
Everyone can see too. You can't fudge or push people.
No.
Or fool the audience. Like either the drag is there or it's not. Or you see in other competitors like, wow, look at this person. Like we've seen them on TV before. This is a completely transformed person. They're showing us stuff episode after episode that I don't even know if I thought that they were capable of. Mm-hmm. And we have some competitors on this season that are like that. And, that unfolds in an interesting way later on.
Yeah, I have no idea what these people are going to bring when we cast them. There's no way for us to know. And I have to say there is a method to our madness. I see people online sometimes disagreeing with our judgment, and I get it. If I was watching it episode per episode and thinking, well, this person's look was better than that. It's not about that. There's more to it. What's happening behind the scenes plays into it, right? Are they professional? We're trying to create a super monster. Do they have the qualities or are they displaying the qualities that we're looking for in a winner? Mm-hmm. And sometimes people get to episode 4 and you're like, this person's done.
I want to make a distinction. That doesn't mean we would never crown a villain. Like, and I'll tell you this. I want to crown a villain.
Yeah.
I want a viperous, gorgeous, vicious queen to have the Dragula crown. I really do. But even if you are one of those vipers or you are a villain of the season, it doesn't mean you have to be messy, manipulative, aggressive. It doesn't have to be any of that. You can just be fire the whole season and like undeniably bitchy but also like real.
Yeah.
Like it's factual and that gets a lot of respect.
I mean, look at like someone like Aurora, right? They were always respectful of the crew, but they were sharp with the other competitors. Mm-hmm. I mean, someone like that could definitely win the show.
And even Majesty on season 2,
yeah,
like that version
absolutely.
of Majesty was like, wow, this is someone. And even though they did play a little bit of mind games, it's not what I was saying. I think that James Majesty of season 2 was at the height of his powers in a certain kind of way. And yes. That could be a villain archetype that I could crown.
Yeah. And just to go back to what I was saying, though, there are other things that is a factor, right? Like how they behave. But there's also things like, have they shown us everything they're going to show? Because as well as I do that you get to a point and just kind of passing by doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
If I think that maybe you're not going to bring something more interesting on the next episode or the next episode, there's no reason to save you.
And the competitors are talking about that too. Like we've had it directly asked, I think a couple of times this season, are you going to show us anything different? Is this all you have? Did you bring anything that's going to surprise us in the finale?
Right.
Like that kind of stuff. So they're thinking along the same lines. But what did surprise me on this episode, and it was very clear right in this moment that Cynthia and Blackberry's fire is still burning.
Yeah.
And we kind of quickly get to it after we come in and let everybody know, it's a filth-based challenge. It's the Holiday of Horrors. We get to that section where everyone's kind of separating and sort of working on their stuff. And a lot of funny shit happens here. Like Cynthia just completely goes off. She like literally loses her touch with the reality and puts Blackberry on blast in a way that I don't know if I've seen on the show before.
Right. And I've definitely never seen someone do that with Blackberry. Blackberry is like the consummate professional. And I think that this stuff with Cynthia is definitely knocking her off her game.
That's what I was going to say. Blackberry has that suspicion. Do you think that was Cynthia's motivation, or is Cynthia just like bat out of hell, pissed because Blackberry, in her mind, betrayed their friendship on the first episode and never made amends, never said sorry, never kind of honored? Do you think it's that, or do you think like, oh, Cynthia's like, oh, I see an in, let me push this to the max because Blackberry is a huge, competitor in this competition. Let me throw her off her game.
I don't think that it was intentional like that. I don't think that that's what she was doing. I think that what she was doing was something else, which is I maybe am not showing up on the scoreboard in the floor shows. I need to show up on the scoreboard in the reality parts. And so she has found someone to fight and she's going to lean into it. Now, I don't know that for sure, but that's what it gives to me because I've never seen her be calculated in a way to get someone out. That just doesn't seem to be her thing. Her focus is always on herself and making sure she shows up in the room, whatever the room is. So if she feels like she's not showing up on stage, she's going to find some other way to get attention or to stand out. But yeah, I do. But that being said, I think it absolutely is knocking Blackberry off of her game. I don't think she knows what to do with this stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, if that's true, like later on in the floor show, first of all, Blackberry's look was horrifying. It was great. The details from the waist up were incredible. It was so impactful, but the rest of it kind of like collapsed and there was a lot of malfunctioning during the floor show. Yeah. You saw a little bit of it. And I wonder if this Cynthia thing, like, getting in her head kind of deal with in Blackberry's regard, did that affect the performance?
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. I feel like it's very clear that that's what happened. And I want to say, because I don't think we got enough close-ups of Blackberry's look, the detail on that outfit, it was meticulous. I looked at it very close up from the front, the back, everything. There was so much incredible detail to it. But no matter what, if you come out on the floor show and from the waist up you look great and the waist down you're in sweatpants, you are in trouble.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Filth for a minute, and we don't have to go too deep on this, but I kind of wanted to explore this because I think a couple of competitors made comments about this isn't my strong suit. I don't even know what this is. I'm like, girl, we've been doing this for a long time. There's a lot of different ways that Filth shows up on the show, and I just wanted to kind of touch on it because this isn't something that we just sort of conjured up. This idea of Filth can be represented and has been represented in 100 different ways, and the best example I think is one that so many people know is like John Waters' movies and the legendary Divine. Like, she literally ate dog shit on film. This is something that's nasty.
Part of it, but really the other part is she's like, filth is my life, and they showed like John Waters uses filth constantly in every movie, even if it's like sexually inappropriate things or things that we would frown on today that he put in his movies back in the day, like Pink Flamingos. There's like a chicken getting raped. I'm sure it's simulated. I don't know, but I don't like it and I don't want to talk about it, but those things happen and it's part of the shock value of drag. Not the chicken thing, but the filth. It's like social commentary, and that can be,
the punk rock drag scene from the East Village to like raunchy sexual stuff like sacrilegious and blasphemy. It can kind of be looked at as like a filth of almost of the spirit. Even things like yuppie culture or like hyper conservatism.
Yeah.
There's a filthy nastiness to that if you look at it and present it the right way. So it actually is a huge wide open tenet for people to kind of tap into.
Yeah, and Sigourney, I think, mentions, she's like, I don't even know what that is. I'm like, you don't know what that is?
Well, she did a great job.
Pretty sure. Was it season 5? Remember at the finale, we came out and we're like, this is filth. And this is what filth is. And this is why we do filth. Okay, everybody? Because it was like for new viewers that are like, what? What is this?
Yeah. Oh, right. Those setups. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, just watch that,
Totally. I just wanted to digress on that for a minute. But back to this section of the show. Another thing that's so funny to me, JK tries to make an alliance with Jaharia. Like, pulls her to the side for like this private little moment and be like, girl, you know what? Wouldn't this be amazing? Wouldn't this be incredible? Let's team up and start gunning these girls out. And Jahari is like, absolutely. And then marches in the room and like 30 seconds later spills the tea directly to Eva and Sigourney. Like, I mean, Chaos Agent number one. What did you think of that?
I like it. I don't understand it. Like cause like, how do you not get caught doing that so immediately? But I don't think like that, you know, like I couldn't play that kind of game if I was in a show like this. I think I would just go nuts all the time. And then, you know, that's it. Like I can't figure out all the machinations of why people do what they do. So to me, I would assume if you did that, you would instantly get busted, but she didn't. So I don't know. I mean, it's weird, but it's wacky. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. And her take on it's just hilarious. Like when she explains it, she's like, ooh, I love it. It's like Big Brother. I love it here. And just like, you know, playing that kind of Survivor type of manipulation game in the background, just confusing everybody. Like it's fun.
I have to say, I laughed out loud when she literally went directly from that directly to I was like laughing so hard.
And so were our friends at our viewing party too.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, so it's on to the floor show. You see these cute ass witch outfits that we're wearing. Like this is our classic homage to Halloween. And I thought they were really adorable. It gave us the opportunity to kind of flex just different colors in our makeup and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah, it's like pinup witchy thing. I feel like we have that kind of style to us if you listen to our music and you look at the kind of way we dressed on our album cover and all that. That's sort of like a little homage to classic Halloween that we love, right?
Exactly. And our guest judges are probably one of my favorite combinations, and I'm so happy to have both Don Mancini and Jennifer Tilly back. I know some fans were anticipating like a doll return to the doll challenge, but that's a little bit too on the nose.
I saw someone said, they were like, I hope like the picture came out of us that they put out, and they're like, I hope it's a doll challenge, and I was like, what the hell? I'm like, we're dressed like a witch. Like, why a doll? I was like, do we look like doll witches? Right. I didn't realize. Yeah. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were both great and so cool. And I just watched the trailer to the next season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills where Jennifer is featured. And I just love it. Like,
well, did you notice? She told us, she mentioned something. I'm not going to like spill her tea, but she mentioned something about Sutton to us in a joke when she was on set, because of course I talked to her about fucking Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And I saw the trailer and they get into it, and I was like, ooh, what's gonna happen there?
I know, it's exciting.
You know what usually happens when someone's a friend of and then they get a full time? They battle the person that brought them on.
Oh
it
God,
almost happens every time.
Yeah, totally. I've seen that over and over.
Yeah. But anyways, Jennifer is a total pleasure to work with. Yeah. She's so fun. She has a great time. She has a fun attitude. You know, she's looking at all this like disgusting shit. Like, I don't even know if she's into that or what she thinks about it, but
oh God, to Priscilla, what are you doing after this? Just really fucking cute.
And then Don is such an iconic figure from queer horror. You know what he's done and the impact that he's had on queer horror is just, I love him, and he's such a good person. He has such a good heart, and he has great feedback, great for the energy
guests. And he took that and like in the Chucky series, we see a lot of young queer representation. Like Don is a real one.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So they were really fun to have.
Was there anything that we didn't get to say necessarily like on the actual episode that you wanted to visit now?
Yeah, there is. I think that Cynthia's look could have put her up for elimination, but I think that coming out of that big heart and everything, she showed ambition that I haven't seen her show before, and it made me think, I bet she has more in her bag of tricks I want to see what else she has.
Yeah.
Now with Disasterina, I love Disasterina. Disasterina's brilliant. I don't know that Disasterina's brilliance can be showcased in this platform in a competitive way. Meaning the thing she's good at, you know, she makes her own songs and music, and she has this character and she can interview people and all these things, but those challenges don't really come up in a show like this.
Very hard to feature on Dragula. I think that was really what you just said was like kind of nailed it.
Yeah, and I love her looks and I love her stuff. Do I think she was going to bring anything more than what we saw on the first 5 episodes? I do not. as far as looks and competing in this kind of format, I think she showed everything she's got. I'm glad she was a part of it. I love her. I want to figure out a way to use her more. But
I have an idea.
Well, we'll talk about it. And so that was about Disasterina. About Priscilla, I love Priscilla's concept. It was really moving, and I was torn because I had to judge the concept versus the look. And again, I think she's done great. But do I think by episode 5, from what I've seen so far, did I think for this time up the bat, was she going to, competing on Titans for this time, do I think she was going to ever go over what she's done so far? I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And that led to me, I'd love Priscilla to stay there for everything. She's hysterical. Oh no, and I love her.
And I think Sigourney said it at the end there. She's like, oh my God, like these are like the I hate to see them go. Both of them, they're the most fun people. They're like the funniest people. Yeah. And you can really see that. I think they're kind of like the spirit of the show. I've said it on this podcast. Like Priscilla is like my spirit animal. Like she says, I think what's on everybody's mind, and she says it funny.
Absolutely. And then the last person I which I kind of already mentioned, was the detail in Blackberry's outfit was incredible.
Yeah.
Seeing it up close, the food literally looked real. You know how you go to those places sometimes and they'll have a dessert
like
that's
the LA
like
County Fair. Oh, you're talking about when they like
do it in it's plaster. Like fake in a counter, and you're like, ooh, it's fake. I mean, literally all of her food was like that. Now you can see my judging criteria, everybody. If you have Shoney's type displays of food, then you're gonna win.
I want to say one thing quickly about Eva's look, because I kind of went for it a little bit. I'm like, this is kind of Dungeons and Dragons, and the truth is, I felt like it was a little off the mark. Literally, someone that was watching the episode with me were like, wait, what's the holiday? And I'm like, exactly. But the war paint, the prosthetic, the wings, like just the whole performance, I mean, it looked arresting. It was very stunning, but just not what we were looking for in this challenge.
Yeah. Was there anybody else that you wanted to say more about that you didn't get to?
No, I don't think so. I think I think really touching on Disasterina, because I think you sensed it in my judgment, the deliberation between me and you. Like I liked Disasterina's approach to this. I did think it was a little on the nose. It was a little almost like Krampus cosplay, but there was a kooky, cartoony performance element to it that I felt came across. And if it was up to me, it might have went a little differently as far as the elimination.
Who would it have been then?
That's the tough part, right? That's the part.
That's what we have to. That's what people at home don't understand. If you're like, oh my God, I love Disasterina, we should have kept her. Okay, let's say we kept her. So who do you think should have went home in her place?
Well, listen. In this case, I'm going to play a card I never play, which is like, maybe we shouldn't send 2 people home.
Don't you even say that. Don't you even say that, because I'm pretty sure we battled about it. You were like, we have to do it.
Well, I'm playing it now because you're pointing the question, and I'm like, well, if I was backed into that corner, it would be that.
You know why? Because it's the next episode. There had to be a certain amount of people to do the next episode's challenge, and you were like, we have to get rid of 2 people twice if we're going to cast 14. And because we didn't at episode 1, we were getting backed up.
There were other really tricky things that were sprouting up too that made that have to happen.
Yeah,
but
like the band, all that stuff.
Like all those things definitely come into play. But we get before the judgment, we get probably the most unhinged deliberation between me and you today. Like we were just going back and forth like crazy people. Oh my God. It was like so hilarious. I just loved it. And I get why the fans love it too. But
I don't, because I'm just like, it's just us. Like, it's like,
well, we didn't used to show them that. They never got to see that. I was like,
did we edit it out? Because I know we're like that all the time.
Yeah, but I think we didn't keep all the jabs and the quips and like the funny like off-brand shit. It was just like we were just talking about the business.
Yeah, we were more protective of like that was stuff that we would say knowing it was going to get cut out. Yeah, but now we don't care. I'm like, I don't care.
Okay, before we get to the cauldron and our big double elimination and the rest of your listener questions, we are going to take our second break and we'll be right back. We are back, and it's time to take a dip into this bubbling cauldron. something that I thought was hilarious is JK and Cynthia's budding love affair. And when I say love, not like, amorous love, but they love each other now. They're sisters.
It's such a natural fit that I didn't see coming. But then as soon as they started getting along on episode 2, I'm like, this makes sense for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, talk about like a crazy tag team. Like if those two are coming for you, you better go hide.
I know.
I thought Disasterina probably gave us like the most interesting look into like her feelings and what it's like to be in the cauldron when you're about to face the gallows. And she says something that I've never really thought about before. And I wonder how many other competitors have felt this and think this way, that, when it comes to being eliminated or the threat of being eliminated, an extermination is so much easier and it's like preferable. I'd rather deal with it because I can get angry, or I can like really go at it kind of like with energy and sort of think about what's happening. But when it comes to the gallows, it's way worse because you can't really deal with it. It's like instant. It's happening so fast. There's no way to process, and then it's over.
Yeah. I think, when we first came up with the idea of the gallows, that was part of what attracted me to it, was the finality of it. It's so sudden.
Yeah.
It's so, you don't get to say goodbye. You don't get to, tell everybody how you feel. You're gone.
Yeah.
And nobody sees you. Like the rest of the cast does not see you. You go home and that's it.
It's also the only way that cast members witness the elimination.
Right.
Every other day, it's like they get to sleep on it, and like who doesn't come in the room. It's much more
Right.
diffused. When you see your friend disappear,
Yeah.
I think that's where you get these like emotion-filled reactions that we saw in this episode.
It's interesting because I don't think, like when I watch it here with people, I don't get the emotional reaction. But when you're there, it's really intense. You got to imagine, like for people at home, I know they like behind the scenes tidbits. Imagine being in the room. The show gets scored after it's recorded. There's no music in the room. It's just us in the judge's booth and them up there, and it's silent.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of tension in that silence. So when we say Disasterina, ascend and Priscilla ascend the staircase of skulls. Okay, then we wait and they walk up there and we're all just sitting there in silence. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden Swan will say one person's name and they're gone forever. And it's
the thing
intense.
is, the trapdoor is also extremely loud and you don't hear it. It's shockingly loud. So yeah, I don't think viewers can really grasp what that feels like in the moment.
They get rushed away. Like you don't see them again after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but with Disasterina, again, I feel like she's kind of given up. I feel like she's given up. I feel like she feels like, why am I not pinging higher on the radar? Because she's probably conflicted. She knows how talented she is. So why is she not showing up? Well, this competition, at least this version of it, is very visual. It's very costume based. It's very craft based,
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily her strength.
I hear that. I think it was sad and a shock to see Disasterina go. I think it was double sad and double shocking to see a double elimination and say goodbye to Priscilla. Mm-hmm. Not something we've done before on the show where two people drop.
No, and these are two of my favorite people on the show, honestly. They just are. I mean, I hate to say that I have favorites, but I do. Sorry.
Oh, man.
And they're two of my favorites. I would love to see them go to the end, but I'm also... I know what we're doing, Yeah,
extremely lovable. And I think fan favorites for a good reason. But we move to our new section, which is the Hellbound Showdown. Did you want to say something else?
Oh, just before that,
Oh, right.
Before we move on to
the Hellbound Showdown, we get the indicator, the card that comes up that says Zaba is basically no longer going to be involved with the competition in any way.
Right.
And I think we're just going to leave that at that. Like, we don't want to necessarily expand on that.
I want to say one thing about it.
Okay.
I know people at home want to know. I know they want to know. But this part of it is not reality TV. This part of what happened is not part of reality TV, and it's not a public thing. I think that we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to change our mind. It's partly to protect them and other people. You know, I'm sure it sounds juicy, but it's just never, it's one of those things. It's not something cute and cunty like when Willem got, you know, eliminated. It's nothing like that. So I don't want that to become some sort of thing in the, you know, in the mythos of Dragula. This is some kind of cutesy thing. It wasn't cute. It wasn't cute. It's over. It's done. I wish Zava the best. Everybody has bad days, and we're going to leave it at that.
Yes, let's leave it at that. And move on to the Hellbound Showdown. We have Easter versus the Groundhog Day. It took me a minute to get to that groundhog, but once I did, I was like, okay, this is kind of genius.
I loved it.
Yeah, Jade versus Dahlia.
Jade on this episode in particular, sort of made me feel better about Hellbound Showdown. And the reason why is because when we first decided to do Hellbound Showdown, I thought these people have been eliminated, so they're going to come at this challenge hard. And we're going to see that maybe they shouldn't have went home last episode. I hate to say it. No, I don't mean any insult to anybody. But so far, it just reinforced. I'm like, we made the right decision when you went home. Like, unfortunately, that's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm like, I see why you went home.
Yeah.
And here you're home again. So with Jade, but for this episode with Jade, when she came out, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I love Groundhog Day. First of all, who the hell picks Groundhog Day? And this big monster groundhog on her, she was eating the worms. I was like, Jade, where was this?
Yeah, she really showed up. And for a minute, I thought like, oh, this is going to be a neck and neck kind of thing, because I thought Dahlia looked cool, like the whole cross, the halo, the spikes. Like I thought, and like the way that she started to perform, ferocious. I was like, oh, this is going to be a thing to the end. But I think about halfway through, she lost that steam and got kind of like wrapped up in the props, and Jade just stepped forward and served it hard.
Yeah, her thing was she went to the back of the stage to nail these things to the cross. They were like stuffed animals or something. It just didn't read, but it kept rabbit Easter, but it kept her in the back of the stage for way too long, and Jade was just serving it up in the front. I'm like, Dahlia, you're drowning here. You know?
Undeniable. Jade Jolie wins again and continues her march through the damned.
Yeah. And you know, they don't, I want to say this for fans, again, the little BTS stuff. The people in the Hellbound Showdown did not even understand what the hell it was most of the time. Or they knew very little about it because it's nothing they've seen on the show before. They didn't know what it was going to look like. They didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I felt like I would tell them, hey, you might be able to come back. And they'd just be looking at me like, huh?
It's so like, much
it's
to
too
process,
much going
though.
on.
Yeah,
They're like, I have to get in my costume today. We're like, just get in your costume. Yes, you have to get in your costume today, okay?
Oh my God. And the reality of it was too, like we were trying to hide them because again, the cast did not know this was happening for almost the whole season. And they're back in the offices, like behind the scenes, almost like not so far from where we were. And I know that some of them were in their outfits for like, I'm talking an hour, like 10 hours.
Multiple reports of people in full drag asleep in a weird, like empty office somewhere.
You took a shower, got in full drag, had lunch, a nap, walked around the building, like just looked at your phone for 3 hours, and you still haven't
not look at your phone. Yeah. You don't have your phone.
It's just crazy.
Just stare into the air.
Crazy.
Anyways.
Fun episode.
Yeah, good episode. This season so far has been a lot of fun. The next couple, I mean, honestly, every episode of the show is awesome.
I love the theme of episode 6. I love episode 7.
Yeah.
Like potentially my favorite episode of the season.
Episode 8, we have fucking Todd McFarlane on the show. Like, come on.
So good.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if we spilled the tea, but we do get a reunion this year.
We sure do.
Yeah. And
yes.
It's a juicy.
The cast gave it to us, and there is definitely, I just want to say too, in the relation to the Zava stuff, Zava will not be at the reunion or anything else going forward. Just, to get that out of the way.
And now it's time to reach into our bag of listener mail and answer at least some of your burning questions. Now, I think we made reference to this last episode. There are so many questions. We may try to do like a bonus episode where we just kind of answer as many as possible.
I think we should next week because there's a lot. I think, they told me there was like a couple of hundred.
Let's do it.
And we're doing 5. So
let's do it after the next episode, just because
Okay.
there's a lot going on this, in the coming week. But after episode 6, then I think we'll have time.
That sounds fine.
Amanda from Florida writes, in episode 4, your interaction with Jaharia felt unusually intimate. In the most delightfully unsettling way, of course. Have you ever interacted with a bottom contestant in previous seasons quite like that? Or was that moment as unprecedented as it felt? That moment was as unprecedented as it felt. I felt in the past, there have been intimate moments with competitors before, but I have never felt the impact of my words specifically bringing someone to such a low place. And I felt like it landed in a way that was way more powerful than I intended it. And I hurt her, and I just felt like it was the right thing to do in the moment.
Yeah. As far as have we talked with competitors intimately like that, 100%, not directly from judgment though. Like, you know, I think back to Jade on season 4 when her cat died and she got that call and you know, talking about her mental health and everything. Like, we've had a lot of very personal conversations with a lot of the cast. In fact, maybe you even more so than me.
No, I think me for sure. And I think, I don't know.
Uncomfortable stuff sometimes.
Very, very difficult stuff to talk about and deal with. But I feel like you have to rise to the occasion as a mentor, as someone who is, you know, their touchstone on this whole experience, and someone generally, most of them respect us. So it's important. Another one comes to mind is when Satana was about to jump off the bridge the first time we did that challenge, she was going through it there and thinking about it in terms of like, oh, I'm going to be such a disappointment, and family members and all this stuff.
You went and talked to her over in the woods by yourself. Would you like beat her up a little bit?
And then I beat her up and I was like, bitch, you're going to jump or I'm going to throw you. And she did it. And there she went.
I'm trying to think if I don't think I've had a conversation like that. I have more conversations like, you know, after they go home or they think they flopped or they're like going crazy, like those kind of conversations. Yeah, there's a couple of them going back to probably season 1. Every season I've had conversations like that. All right, next we have Grant from Washington, D.C. Alfonso from
Chicago.
Grant asks, it feels as though when it comes to filth, if a competitor doesn't have a strong idea of what to do, the common denominator ends up being I'm pretty or scary, activate slime, and then I eat some guts, even when it doesn't feel particularly connected to their chosen holiday. I was really surprised at Priscilla's low placement when it felt revolting and filthy in a more clever way that evokes some of the best filth we've seen on the show. What do you divas look for when it comes to executing filth as it relates to a challenge? You're right. That interpretation of filth was really right on the money. That we were conflicted about Priscilla's look because the filth was offensive and great, and it wasn't just, you know, potty humor or something really easy and base that anybody...
Or just eating guts like this person nailed it.
And they're right. Like, I can't, please, if you ever come on Dragula, or especially if I see you in a live show, which I probably never will because I'm never going to one ever again as long as I live. But if I do, and you think because we're from Dragula that we want to see you spit blood out of your mouth and let it run down your chin, we don't want to see it. I don't want to see it in an audition. I don't want to see it on stage. I don't want to see it on Dragula. Stop spitting shit out. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, I think Grant kind of nailed it. I agree. Priscilla's filth exhibition was way up there in like originality and execution, but this challenge operates on a couple of different levels, and one of them is the look. And I think JK said it too. There were too many ideas. Like I couldn't necessarily tell the holiday right away. And then, you know, I'm not going to pick it apart because I thought it was powerful and people need to see that. But in the context of the competition, the look really does matter quite a bit too. And that was, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can do mask drag and mask presenting drag. And I just think maybe that's where they fell short.
The editor of the episode told Priscilla's story. When we were watching it live in person, you got to imagine how much time's passing before she's doing each of these things.
Yeah.
And it was like, what the hell has happened? Like, you know, and you couldn't see that little card that said Happy Father's Day in the picture, which she showed the camera, but we couldn't see that from the judge's booth. I'm like, what's going on? Why is she fucking this great? I'm like, yeah. So anyways, but I did think watching it back, I was like, this is fantastic. So there wasn't a problem with the filth. You're right. It was other things.
Adrian from Texas. I love this new season of Titans.
Me too.
Adrian, you have really good taste. And it's such a fresh take for you guys to pull the curtain and reveal drama behind the scenes that would normally get edited out. This leaves me wondering, have we behaved enough in order to receive a reunion this year? Well, I've already let the cat out of the bag. Yes, you have. I don't know that it's so much the good behavior on the fans' part as opposed to the good behavior on the competitors' part, because they showed up across the board, not only in the drag, but they shared who they were. They voiced their opinions. There was conflict. There was resolution. Sometimes there wasn't. And I think what we got was a riveting, kind of like magnetic season that's super fun to watch. We have to have a reunion.
Yes. Jay from Tennessee asks, is there ever a time either of you need to step in because the cast is mistreating the crew? Would a cast member ever be disqualified for acting in such a way to the crew? I hate to think that somebody I'm potentially rooting for on the show is actually being horrendous to the crew behind the scenes. Yes, we have absolutely had to step in because the cast was mistreating the crew. I think the most egregious example was season 3. They were horrible to the crew, and there was a couple of them especially that were living nightmares. And
there was a little bit of it on season 4.
Yes,
and
there was season 4.
There is some on this season.
There was a lot on season 4. But has anyone ever been removed for their behavior? Not up until this Titans. And actually, they weren't removed for their behavior. They were disqualified from participating in the Hellbound Showdown. But it wasn't like, oh, let's drop them through the floor because they're acting like an asshole. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
We would, of course. I mean, honestly, if anyone ever does anything to the crew or crosses a line, you're gone. You're toast. Like, you're dead to me. I will not tolerate that on any level. These people are at work. They bust their ass to make these guys look great. You would be a fool to step to the crew.
And finally, Furman from Chicago. Furman
from Chicago.
Last year, I visited a queer club, Rico Club, in Mexico City.
Congratulations.
We've been there and saw various pictures of you both performing there on the wall. Oh my God, that's so cool. How did you like Mexico City? When is the next time you'll be in Mexico? Do you have any plans to perform or visit Guadalajara or Puerto Vallarta? So I don't know if a Mexico trip is on the calendar. Would I go back in a minute? I thought the crowd was so incredible and just so different from a US.
Let's talk about it a little bit.
Okay, so our experience goes like this. My favorite part is like, I'm like in Mexico, at least in Mexico City, at Rico Club, they don't give a shit about capacity. Like, that's the first thing I learned in 2 seconds, because we got out of our driver let us out of the car. A squad of security guys came over and they were like, they formed an arm lock circle around me and Drac and just pushed our way into a super packed, like sardine pack kind of club.
When we say super packed, like, it would have been shut down by the fire department at half that capacity in the United States.
It was wild, and it was like multi-leveled, and we were up on the roof. And when I say roof, I mean not like a room that's on the roof. I'm saying we're under the stars on the roof. There's a bar, and you're like walking over pipes in heels at night. Like, it was just a different beast. Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, I like when different cultures don't treat people like idiots, you know?
Yeah.
It kind of crossed the line a bit. It was like when we walked over that, like, there was like that glass terrarium looking window that's over the dance floor, and the glass is gone. So I'm like, oh, cool. So if I trip, I'm just gonna like right down to the dance floor. So I was like, okay, we need to fix up a couple of things here. But I actually loved the experience there. The drag was so different in terms of the other queens performing that night.
Yeah.
They didn't come out to a song and do a show. They had to stay on stage all night and lip sync each pop song that came on, which I was like, kill me. Like,
these
kill
girls,
me.
They were putting in work, and it wasn't low energy either.
No,
song
they were
after
sweating
song
their
after
ass
song
off, and
for
it was
hours.
hot too. Yeah,
it was crazy.
The energy was so great. I would love to go back there. I feel like, it would have to be some kind of tour or something, because we're not going to like pop up in a club anymore, I don't think. Or vacation, but then
Yeah,
you wouldn't know we were
vacation.
there. So.
And Mexico City left such an impact on me because it's so huge. It's such a like sprawling urban kind of experience in a way that I don't think I was ready for. And yes, I've lived in Southern California for a long time, but I don't speak Spanish. So that was almost one of the first times that I felt like there's a legitimate like language barrier here that made getting around kind of tricky. I love that there were Templo Mayor, I think it was called, like the ruins right there in the center of the city. Like Drac and I took a tour of all that into the museums and stuff, like the dancers that were just kind of like out in that main sort of plaza. It was just so culturally enriched. It was really cool.
That's what I was going to say. The culture was amazing. I would like to go back just to do that. There was like some like pyramid kind of temples that we didn't get to go to because they were a couple of hours outside the city. Like I would love to go back there, but you reminded me of something with the language barrier, which was when we went to France and when we performed in Paris and Ian was with us and no one spoke fucking French. I never talked to Ian about French before. So we go in and this motherfucker out of nowhere is suddenly like full blast, fluidly speaking French. And I'm like, excuse me? What is happening right now? So everywhere we went, Ian's speaking full-blown French. And I'm like, at that moment, I was like, you are either a robot or a spy.
No, or in, what is it?
Or witness protection program, like agent, government agent. I was like, what is your deal, dude? Because like he knows the most random stuff.
Yeah.
And all these languages. So I was like, what is happening? Anyways, I thought that was a fun anecdote.
Yes, thank you for your question, Furman. And I kind of love this because I didn't realize that there were pictures of us from our visit there. That's going back a few years now, and that just makes me feel good.
We looked kind of like holy that night. We have like white shrouds. I saw some of the pictures, and we have like white shrouds over us.
I mean, that when we came in, a lot of the fans were they were parting the way for us to come through and making the sign of the cross and stuff. Like that was cool.
It was. All right, everybody, that's all the time we have for this episode of the Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night. Now, remember, if you have any questions for us about what we talked about on this episode or the next episode of the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titan Season 2, please email us at creatures@bouletbrothersdragula.com, and we will do our best to answer your question. Make sure you watch the next episode of the Boulet Brothers Dragula Titan Season 2 on Shudder on Monday night, Tuesday morning for some of you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye for now, uglies.
The Boulet Brothers Creatures of the Night is hosted and produced by Dracmorda and Swanthula Boulet, with music by Neuron Spector.